Hello Red Riot and welcome to our midweek sessions. We are going through a series at the moment called What Would Jesus Do? And we have titled our series What Would Jesus Do? Not because it's fancy, but because we want to know what would Jesus do, because what he would do is very different from what we would do. Our response would be rooted in our sinful nature, and the result would probably be destruction. But Jesus' response is rooted in his righteousness, and the result is always life. On Friday, Mikey spoke about Jesus' response to anger, divorce, and lust. We like to get angry. It makes us feel powerful, and it makes us feel validated and like we're doing something in the world. Jesus responds to anger by saying we must be slow to anger, and in our anger, we should not sin. So we need to be mindful of this when we experience anger for ourselves, whether it's personally with someone else, or whether it's culturally, something is happening in the world that is making us angry. Our response, or any response that we make towards anger, should reveal Christ and bring reconciliation. So be mindful whenever you are posting a post on social media, or you're sharing a post on social media, or you're responding to someone who hurt you, or you're sharing an opinion with a group of friends, does it reveal Christ and will it bring reconciliation? Or will it be divisive, inflammatory, and bring destruction? If the latter is the case, then don't share it, but rather speak life and hopefulness into any situation. In this country, we probably won't be persecuted or killed for our faith. We won't be killed because we are a Christian. But our persecution will be a social one. And as young people, our major persecution will come in the form of what society thinks about sex and sexuality. The Bible is clear on what God's design for our sex and sexuality is, and we need to be prepared to fight for it. And this won't be easy. But the reward will far outweigh any fun that we will be missing. So be ruthless with lust, Red Riot, because what God says and what God asks us to do should far outweigh what anyone else says or thinks about us. And we live in a world that is broken. We live in a world where lust is rife, and we live in a world where divorce is common. I know personally 8 couples who have gotten divorced before they turned 30. It is not God's design. I was at a dress shop once, and this mom was making this huge fuss about her daughter's matric dance, and she said to the person who was asking questions about it, she said, actually your matric dance is the most important thing because it only happens once. You can get married more than once, but you only have one matric dance. And a comment like that should offend you. If you believe in Jesus, if you believe in his design, that comment should offend you. And I know that at youth we talk a lot about dating series, we talk a lot about lust. The leaders want to be involved if there's a new romance that's starting, and we do this for a reason. Actually, we do this because we're trying to protect the sanctity of marriage, which starts here. It starts with lust, it starts with dating, and we're trying to protect the sanctity of marriage because that is what we believe Jesus would do in that situation. And the ways of God are opposing to the ways of the culture and the world that we live in. The ways of God may seem old school, closed-minded, out of touch with reality, very strict, or whatever negative connotations you might feel when you think of God's ways and what we are asking you to do, or what he is asking you to do. But Jesus says this: even though the road is narrow and it's really difficult to walk, it leads to life. But there is another path, and that path is wide, it's easy, perhaps it's more fun, or at least that's what people say. But the end result of that path is destruction. And so this is why we are calling you to do what Jesus would do. This is why we are calling you, Red Riot, back to the truths of the Bible. This is why we're asking you to actually fight against culture and hold on to the truths of God, because we want you to find this life, true life in him and with him, and not the destruction you will find in the world.